Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about why or how to move forward. I know you're probably thinking, okay, you're always talking about self love and self help and how I can be in my purpose and all of these things. But what does me being focused, what does me moving forward in life have to do with anything? Well, let me tell you. So earlier today, I was really spending some time with God, and I just kept hearing over and over again in sermons and different inspirational things that I was listening to, just take it one step at a time. And it's so funny how God can give you a message or how he can get through to you. You'll be doing all of these things in life and God will just literally illuminate things in the Bible to you. He will, when someone's talking to you and they're giving you advice or they're just saying something random, those few words will start to stand out. And you don't even realize that you're being blessed by it. You don't even realize that it's something that is really helping you in life. And those were the words that I kept hearing. Just take a step. Just keep taking it a step at a time. Sometimes in our head, we have this idea that moving forward, that propelling forward, that being better, that increasing, that success, even what success looks like, we have this idea in our head of what we think it should look like, not what it actually means to us. And I'm learning in this season that I really just have to take it one step at a time. I have to be doing something towards my goal. And I hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, make a big audacious goal, make a big hairy goal." And it's great to have a big hairy goal. It's great to have aspirations and dreams and things that you want to pursue in life, but I think it's so important to do the little work so that you can grow to be a big success. And I know that might not make sense to a lot of people, but there's this thing that you do when you're creating a habit in your life. The more small things that you do every single day that becomes a small habit and turns into becoming a big success in your life. You start to eat healthier because you do little healthy things throughout the day. You do healthy things throughout the week, and the next thing you know, you've lost a pound or whatever your destination is. For me, my goal might be growing my business. Me growing my business might look like me showing up on the days that I say I will, me being consistent in my life, me doing something every day that's going towards what I want my business to look like in the future. Like if I need to do a landing page, if I need to create a freebie, if I need to create a website, or if I need to reach out to more people or help more people. In this season, I might not be able to change the world today, but in order for me to change the world in the future, I'm going to have to start behaving Christ like in everyday experiences. When I'm at work, I need to be the Christ that people can see. When I'm in the church, I need to be Christ like. When I'm out just grocery shopping, whatever it is that I'm doing, I need to be speaking life into the people around me. And it doesn't always look like, oh, yeah, let me just quote a scripture from the Bible. It could just look like me being kind. It could look like me being generous, me actually listening to someone, me looking someone directly in the eye so that they know that they're being seen and not just talked over or ignored or as if they're not special. Little things like that are things that can help me contribute to changing the world one day. And I know what my goal is. I know what my vision is. I know what my purpose is. And in order for me to achieve my purpose, I'm going to need God. That's 100% for real. Like the things that I know that I'm purposed to do in this world, I can't do it without God. The only way I'm going to be able to change the world is if I change myself first. I have to do the inner work. God has to work on me. He has to get rid of any of the toxic, any of the negative, any of those the cynicism that cycles throughout your mind, the things that you hear the adversary telling you and you know you have to negate, like you're not good enough. You are good enough. God says you're more precious than rubies. When the adversary comes in and he tries to tell you a lie about who you are, you have to be able to negate it. You have to be able to combat those lies with the truth. You have to be able to speak life into yourself. And people can say it's corny all they want, but it works. Every time you feel yourself start to slip back into the old you, every time you feel yourself start to get ready to say something negative about yourself, you know, you really have to have that truth in the forefront of your mind. front loading is something that I learned in therapy that really blessed my life. Like when I was in the insecure days, when I really didn't know God, when I really didn't know who I was, people would give me a compliment and I'd be like, oh, this is nothing. I got this from such and such. It was $1. Didn't nobody ask me all of that? Like I was so ready to I couldn't accept the compliment. And the more you start to feel comfortable with yourself, the more that you start to become more of the person that God created you to be, and you start to really love yourself, you start to really honor and respect yourself, the more that you can acknowledge those compliments and say, oh, thank you. In the forefront of my mind, I put thank you there because instead of me trying to explain why this is someone likes my outfit, I can just accept the compliment. That's how it is with God as well. God will get ready to bless us with something. I don't know how it turns into a preach session every time, but God will get ready to bless us with something. And we got all these excuses for why we don't deserve the blessing. God will say, I'm going to introduce you to this person so that you can enter into this room. And we'll be like, oh, no, God, I'm not ready yet. God didn't ask if you were ready. If God is saying that this is your purpose, you're going to need God to get to wherever it is that you're going in anyways. So if God is saying that you need to be in this room, you need to meet this person, you need to be in this place, then be there, accept the blessing. And I'm not saying you open and you walk through every single door. Some doors are meant to be closed. Sometimes you're just not ready. But it's a difference between being afraid because you're scared and being afraid because you're doubting yourself. It's important to know, hey, this is just fear. This isn't God saying don't go. This is just me being afraid. When you can determine whether you're just afraid or whether it's discernment and letting you know it's not the right thing, it'll help you make better decisions in your life. For me, I in order for me to learn this or know this, I have to be real with myself. I have to really look in the mirror and say, okay, am I being mad? Am I being mean? Am I being unreasonable in this situation? Am I being over the top in this scenario? And the more that I start to really be honest with myself, I acknowledge when something really is fear and when it's just discernment. Discernment letting me know that this isn't it. And even in relationships with people in my life, when someone says, "Oh, I don't like you. I don't want to be with you." Whatever their thing is, and I don't mean they right out say it, but their actions describe that they don't like you or whatever else, or they're not that into you, then it's just redirection. A lot of people say rejection is God's protection. I think it's God's protection and redirection because it's protecting you from who knows what. Because God's in that room when you're not in it. He sees the conversations that you're not pervy to. He sees the conversations that you don't even know is happening, or the things that are being said about you that are not shedding a good light on who you are or who God says that you are. So whenever someone leaves my life, I always say, thank you, God. I don't know what he done saved me from, but I am thanking God because I know that it's a true blessing. I know that there's nothing in this world that can stop what God put on the inside of me. So if there's a reason why it's not happening, it's because God stopped it, because he's redirected my path on the way that I should go. He is directing me in the right direction so that I can meet the people who actually should be a part of my life, who would be more of a blessing than a curse, who would actually speak life into me, the people who would support me in any area that I would need so that I can lean on them even when my faith is weak, they will be strong. And I don't mean they become God to me. I mean that I got a prayer group. I got people who stay prayed up, who are about that God life. You know what I'm saying? And so it really is such a blessing when God redirects your path because he really does allow you to have the things that are necessary for you to go to the next level. I heard a pastor earlier today talk about how, you think that you're waiting for something in life, like you got to have this thing to be successful, but success is where you are. What is your definition of success? For me, I wrote down on a piece of paper what success means to me, because sometimes when we're looking online, when we see the internet, there's this microwavable society, everything's so quick. You need something, ask Google, or whatever else. I did that just in case one of the speakers or something goes off. But you ask it and then it just gives you the answers. Back in the day, I don't want to like tell my age and stuff, but when I was growing up, we had to go to an encyclopedia. We had to like really open up, they had like version 1, version 2, or the first edition. You got to really look through these books that's at your grandparents' house or something, and they're all lined up on this bookshelf, and you got to go through a dictionary if you need to know the definition of a word. You couldn't just say, "Okay, Google, what is?" and then it just give you the definition. You really had to look for it. And I think that's what we're missing out on in this generation, when we need to really appreciate our seasons, because we want to just rush to get to where we think we need to be instead of appreciating where we are. We don't realize that that season is necessary to prepare us for the next level. We don't realize that everything that God is showing us is so that we can be a better steward of whatever it is that God has already given us. Everything that I have in my life, I have really been trying to appreciate this room, regardless of the size, and still using it as a creative space. I have been appreciating the fact that my washer broke because it allowed me to be humble. And also it allowed me to like wash and dry clothes at the laundromat in 1 hour, instead of like spending 2 hours doing laundry or 2.5 hours doing laundry. Like there's always a good side of everything. And I know some people are going to say, well, I don't see how this could be good. Listen, just like you can think of a bad thing about every person that you meet, you can think of something good about that person as well. When someone does something that I don't like, I think of one good thing about them. I know it sounds weird and everything else, but it really helps me stay focused on, okay, not everybody's out to get you, one. And two, listen, I don't have to use that type of energy to think of something negative about someone else and then try to make myself upset or irritated about whatever this person did, because most of the times it's not personal. Most of the times they're dealing with their own issues that have absolutely nothing to do with you, and you just take it personal because we just so conceited in this world. But yeah, seriously, like when I have a conversation with someone, most of the times I will ask them, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay?" And when that person says yes or no, it allows me to see where their head is. And a lot of the times when I ask them, they'll say something like something happened within their family, or they really were disappointed because something happened with their relationship, or something else had absolutely nothing to do with me. I was so ready to be all extra conceited, thinking it was about me, and it never was. And so since then, I really look at things like, okay, I gotta check and see if this person is actually okay, especially if it's someone that I care about, because I know that they don't mean any ill will towards me. I know that whatever it is that they're going through, it's got to be hard on them, because that's not their character. That's not who they are. And so, because I take the time to do that, it allows me to have better relationships with different people, instead of thinking everyone is the enemy. Not everybody is out to get you. Not everybody's your friend, but not everybody is out to get you. You have to understand that people are going through their own struggles, their own things, just like you're going through things. And although a lot of people don't handle it the best way, it's still up to us to acknowledge and take responsibility for ourselves. Like, regardless of what that person does, I got to make sure that I'm being mature. I'm being emotionally intelligent. I got to make sure I'm taking the time to really take care of myself. Like, I'm pouring into myself before I pour into anybody else. I got to make sure that I'm looking at the good side of everything, no matter what's happening. And if I feel a certain type of way, angry, I usually don't get angry. I mostly get irritated now. Whenever I get irritated, whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm happy, whatever emotion I'm feeling, I feel it. And then I let it go. I try to think of, okay, why did I feel this way? And when I get to the root of it, most of the times is something ridiculous. It's something that's not even that big of a deal. It was just several things piled up because I didn't take a moment to actually acknowledge how I felt, or I skipped a week in therapy or something like that. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even get to the end result or get to the reason behind this. And so I look at it and I realize, okay, this is me. This is something that I did, and I need to change. I need to do something different, because it's important for me growing, moving forward, for me to take accountability and responsibility for my actions. It's so easy to blame somebody else all the time. If my parents didn't do this, if my grandparents didn't do that, if my uncle, my aunt, my friend, then I would be blah. Listen, we can all make excuses just like we can all move forward towards our goal. It's so easy to just think of a reason why not, but why not? Why not you? Why couldn't you be successful? Why couldn't you be the first millionaire, billionaire in your family? Why couldn't you be the first person in a relationship that with a guy that is actually going to treat you the way that God intended for you to be treated, with a man that was appointed by God? Why couldn't you go out and start your own business? Why couldn't you write a book? Why couldn't you raise kids in a good environment? Why couldn't you be the type of person who becomes a doctor, a lawyer? Why couldn't you be the type of person who is the youngest senior partner in your firm? Why couldn't it be you? Just like you can make an excuse for the reasons why it's not you, why couldn't it be you? Why what better person than you would God choose for this position? Because who else knows how it is to grow up that way? Who else knows how it is to go through those types of relationships? Who else knows how it feels to be your own biggest enemy but you? So why not you? If you are ready to move forward in your life and to stop making excuses for the reasons why you can't do things, in the comments, put move forward. It's time to move on from the past relationships. It's time to move on from the past excuses. Any excuse that you can think of in your mind stops today. Every time something comes up of the reason why you're not good enough, why you can't do this, why you can't do that, remember what God said. Remember that He said that you're more important than the sparrows. Remember when He said that He'll be your bridge over troubled water. So no matter what comes your way, you're going to be able to make it through. Remember that He said that you're more than a conqueror, because everything that you fought against, God is right there with you, because He will be with you always. Remember that to not grow weary in doing good. Remember that in due season, you will reap a harvest if you faint not. Remember all of the promises that God gave you for your life, because I'm telling you right now, there's no way I can make it without God. Some people say, oh yeah, I can do this, this, and this, and not everything is all about God. I understand. But for me, I can't imagine doing anything in life without God. I can't imagine being brave enough to do half of the things that I did without knowing that God had my back. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody else, but I'm telling you, knowing that God was right there, that regardless of the heartbreak, regardless of what decisions I make, regardless of what happens in my business, if I stay focused on God, if I trust God, He will bring me through whatever it is. If He tells me to start a business and it's not successful because maybe my ego, or it's not successful because it's not time yet, I understand that. I don't expect to be an overnight success. I don't expect for God to just come in and just give me something just because I want it, but I do know that He will give me what I need. God really allowed me to have good people in my life who really have been such an amazing support. Sometimes we really feel like, when we think of what success is, when we think of what it looks like to be healed or whole, or to move on, it just looks like you're on this glow up scene and you just look amazing and you have perfect days every single day. Let me tell you what my success looks like, or what it looks like for me in my life. Now that I'm healed, it looks like I'm not worried about what the ex is doing. It looks like I'm focused more on what it is that I need to do to be pleasing to God. I'm not trying to please any person, place, or thing. It looks like every day I wake up and I just try to do better. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I still make mistakes just like everybody else, but I'm willing to try to do better. It looks like, instead of me letting something get to me, like, I did let something get to me the other day, but it wasn't a person that got to me, it was me. I got to myself because I had this unrealistic standard of what I thought I needed to look like at that point. I thought that in order for me to heal in certain areas, I needed to heal in a week. I needed to heal in a year. I had like time limits on when I needed to heal or get over things. But I'm the main person that talks about take the time that you need to heal. And I was in a I had a real moment the other day, just like, and it's so weird. It was just about some random person. It wasn't even, a person, which is so crazy to me. But I was like, I really had a moment where I was feeling like I wanted to beat myself up. I'm like, I can't believe it took this long to heal over this person. I can't believe that I even thought of liking this person in the first place. I can't believe I let myself like somebody. Like in my head, that's how I get down on myself. And I try to really go against those things and speak life into myself after. I had to really check myself. When I had that moment the other day, I was really like, I don't know why I acted like that. It really wasn't, it had absolutely nothing to do with the person or the people or anything. It really was a me thing. It really was I was just like, leave. I was that weak with this person, and I had to remind myself I'm not that person anymore. I'm not the type of person who just wants this type of thing in my life. I'm not the type of person who would think that this was okay. And it wasn't anything outrageous. It was more like the if you missed it, watch the spiritual warfare video. I go in depth about it. But and I'll try to link it below if I remember. But I was really hard on myself the other day. I was just really feeling like I cannot believe I allowed myself to like somebody like that. Like every time I see this person, I have that's my first initial thought. I can't believe I even let myself like this person. And it's not that this person is a bad person at all. They're a decent human being, everything. It's just that I knew right away that this wasn't the person for me. Like I had an inkling. I was attracted to the person. I liked the person, but I just couldn't let go. Like the part of me was like, no, but this. Like I didn't have any real good reason why I shouldn't like this person. But he was not the person for me at all. And but I didn't have a reason why I couldn't like him. Like he was attractive, he was smart, he was a leader, or not a leader, but he was like outgoing-ish. Like he was in understanding, like really good characteristic traits. So it wasn't any reason why I shouldn't have liked him, but I knew that he wasn't the person for me. And I know some people are like, why would you not like a good man you are attracted to? It wasn't that I didn't like him, obviously, that was the issue. But it was just I just knew. I knew I wasn't ready. I knew he wasn't the person, and I couldn't understand why he couldn't be. It was so hard. It was really difficult for me to just acknowledge the fact that, hey, this ain't it. And it was nothing against that person at all. They are a decent human being. They really are. And they will make somebody really happy. I just hope that I don't want to say the wrong thing in case one day they come across this video. So that's why I did a pause, because I just wanted to check and make sure that it was something that I can actually say. And I don't want to ever make it to where it's me just saying something about someone just to say something. I want everything that I say to be intentional and for it to be something that can help somebody else. And if what I said wasn't going to help somebody, I don't want to say it. So, yeah, I just, for every person that's out there, I really want every person to know what they deserve. I want them to acknowledge and appreciate their worth, because you can't convince someone to know that they're worth more. You can't convince someone to change unless they want to change. Only God can change a person. And I think it's so important to remember that, because if not, you will put this unrealistic burden on yourself, this unrealistic standard of trying to live someone else's life for them and not knowing that it's hurting you in the process, that you're stunting your own growth, that you're not becoming the person who God created you to be because you refuse to move forward. So I hope that you decide to move on, to move forward in life, because nothing is back there. Unless God spins the block and He has you pick up a couple lessons again that you missed because you were so busy trying to survive that you missed it, let it go. Move on with your life. Release the things that are holding you back. You can't make anybody think anything that you want them to think. You have to make sure that they learn the life's lessons on their own. You have to allow them to be who they want to be, doing whatever it is that they want to do. And for you, you have to stay focused on just putting one foot in front of the other. Every step you take is leading you to where God is taking you. Just don't stop moving. Whatever you're doing, even if you're in a season, keep serving, keep doing something that is intentional, that God intends for you to do. Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep going. It's so worth it.